Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Justin Riley, and I'm joined today by our very dear friend, Dr. Marcia Schaefer from Spring Creek Family Chiropractic in Lodi. Dr. Marcia, welcome. Welcome back, I should say.
Thank you.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about fever today, as I understand. Can you tell us how do you define fever?
So a fever is a completely normal response. A healthy body, when a virus or bacteria comes into the body, it's going to heat up because it wants to burn that thing out, and then you're going to start with your symptoms. You know, a lot of people assume that when you get the fever, when you get the cough, the sneeze, all of that kind of stuff, that you're sick. But we need to backpedal about 7 to 10 days. That's when everything actually started. Your nervous system picked it up, it took care of it, and then it created symptoms to get the stuff out of your system. So when we constantly suppress that, it doesn't let the body do the cleanup that it's meant to do, and that's an important aspect of fever.
Yeah, and we've been so conditioned to believe that fevers can be dangerous. As a parent, how do we know when a fever really does become dangerous? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, right, we know, all parents, you know when your child is your child, you know when your child is not being your child. So when they become lethargic, when they aren't acting like themselves, there's a lot that we can do to help our child. But you know, we see parents that say, oh, a cool bath, or we need to decrease that fever, and then it spikes higher. And it does that because, again, we're trying to heat and get that stuff out. So when we do those things to decrease that fever, it's just going to come right back because it's saying, I wasn't done yet. So when your child is still being your child, trust your gut and pay attention to your child and know who they are to know when you need to do something about it further.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what about are there any risks of brain damage for high fevers? Is that something that we need to be concerned about?
Johns Hopkins, over 20 years ago, Johns Hopkins actually said, no, there's actually not the brain damage unless it gets over 107. But an untreated fever, unless the child is bundled up or they're in a very warm place, rarely will it get above 105. So the body is very self-regulating. Its own thermostat, the central nervous system is the body's thermostat. So it gets to tell the body how to work that fever. So checking your central nervous system and that neurophysiology, it's really, really important to get that checked.
Yes, absolutely. And modern medicine now, I believe, acknowledges that having a fever is actually a positive sign. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the American Academy of Pediatrics actually recognizes and says fever is a symptom of the body taking care of itself, and we should not be medicating. We should be watching carefully and making sure that your child is doing the best that they can. You know, it's interesting to me that we have newborn checks. There's all these things that are checked on a newborn, but nobody ever checks their central nervous system. Nobody is checking these babies when they're first born to say, how is your nervous system going to respond? Because that's ultimately what gets to dictate how is that fever responding. The body's got to have that communication within it, and that's what chiropractors, pediatric chiropractors, are trained especially in, to make sure that that nervous system is functioning and the body can fight off that fever better just because it's a normal response.
Absolutely. It's a normal, but it's not a very comfortable response. I got to tell you, I'm just getting over some things myself, and boy, that's not fun having a fever.
Right, and that's to say, is health a sign of, you know, it is being sick, is that a sign of health? It is. Health isn't just because you're symptom-free. It's the biggest misnomer that parents believe.
Right, yeah. So you've mentioned that the body is the body is really the greatest drugstore. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that means?
Yes, our bodies are incredible. I mean, think about it. In pregnancy, you build a human in 9 to 10 months. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But even
the woman really does.
Right, right.
Men contribute a little, but anyway.
But you know, our body creates something called interferon, which can create fever and chills. But it's the immune system that's saying, hey, take care of this. We can create antiviral and antibacterial agents and the enzymes that our bodies can create. We've got this incredible amount to heal ourselves. We've got that ability, but it's going to dictate in how the communication is happening in the body. So how your central nervous system is functioning, which is why people under chiropractic care are responding better. They get over their colds sooner because their body says, I can take care of this, and it can respond the way that it naturally should without too much or too little of what the body's going to do.
We just have a few seconds left, but do you think that the use of medication can kind of suppress the body's natural ability to fight these types of things?
Absolutely. It's actually going to make the colds or the illnesses last longer because the body's going to come back and say, hey, this is what I want to do.
Right. Absolutely. Dr. Marcia Schaefer from Spring Creek Family Chiropractic, thank you so much for the information.
Thank you.
Don't go away. There's more Talk of the Town coming up right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. My next guest is Jason Hafeman, who is the Outreach Manager over at Project Home on South Stoughton Road. Jason, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you here. So tell us a little bit about what Project Home is.
Project Home is a local nonprofit. We've been in Madison for over 44 years, and we really focus our efforts on energy efficiency work and then also home repair work, primarily working for low to moderate income residents.
Sure, and can you talk to us a little bit about what some of those programs are that Project Home operates?
Right, I mean, the biggest one is our energy efficiency program called Weatherization. It's a low-income weatherization program where we're going in and making energy efficiency upgrades, insulating, air sealing, trying to just help people with their energy costs and usage. And then we do some home repair programs in Dane County as well as Greene County, and a major rehab house program too in Greene County.
Awesome. And you've got some initiatives that you are starting for people of all income levels. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Correct. It's kind of a unique situation. We are a private nonprofit, so even though we do the government contracted work, we have the ability to put ourselves out there, and anyone can hire us for our expertise. So we created a social enterprise to be able to allow people of all income levels to hire us to insulate their attic, make their homes more energy efficient, build ramps, that type of thing, do other repairs, and then we can take some of the funds from that, funnel it back into our nonprofit to help support our efforts in the community.
And you made mention of, I think you mentioned Dane and Greene County. Can you talk to us a little bit more about like what the area that you cover primarily?
Sure. I mean, it's both counties are well represented by us. So
Sure.
the weatherization program, all 72 counties are represented in the state, and we handle services in Dane and Greene County for that. And then the home repair programs, there are limits on the number of people we can accept and help each year through those, but it's a good number of households. We're in nearly 1,000 households a year doing improvement work in Dane and Greene County, yes.
Awesome. And I'm assuming that there's probably some volunteer opportunities for Project Home. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. You hit me right close to the heart. Those are the things that I work on every day.
Sure.
We've got some big ones, Hammer with a Heart, which is our repair program, which is coming up at the end of April, where we do repairs, major repairs, roof replacements, siding, windows, doors, landscaping work, everything you can think of to really help repair homes for homeowners in Dane County for that program that otherwise aren't assisted through some of the other opportunities that are out there, or other programs that are out there. And then we also do a big painting program over the summer where we do exterior painting for probably 10 to 12 homes a year with about 200 volunteers for that effort too. Gets a lot of people in the community involved, and we have a good time.
And if there's somebody who wanted to become a volunteer, where could they go to find out more information?
ProjectHomeWI.org. They can look right there. There's a tab for volunteer. They'll come to me eventually, and we'll figure out if we can work together on a project this year.
Awesome, awesome. And now tell us a little bit about the water heater replacement program that you guys launched just last year, and why you decided to launch it.
Yeah, there was a big need coming. I mean, we kept getting calls, more and more calls from area residents without hot water. Some have been going without hot water for a year or 2 years. I don't know how you do that, but it was a situation where we just kept seeing there was a big need. So we put ourselves out there, we reached out to some area businesses, organizations, and then had a big community response from just residents in the area that wanted to support it. Last year we did 20 replacements, 20 water heater replacements last year. This year our goal is 30. We're about halfway there funding-wise, trying to build some more funds, more momentum, but we've already done 12 replacements this year.
It almost sounds to me like your organization is one of those that if you are successful in what you do, your business is actually going to go down, and that there won't be a need to replace people's water heaters and so forth. So that kind of sounds like, am I right? Am I hitting the nail on the head?
No, there are so many homes out there. There's so many homes out there still that need help, and
Sure.
And it's always continuing. And if you have a house, homeowners know there are always things that you've got to work on, and we help with that.
Sure, absolutely. So how can people get involved? What are some other ways that people can get involved in Project Home?
Well, supporting us, obviously, financial support is a big key for us. So there are ways to donate. We are a 501c3 organization. There's ways to donate to specific programs or just our general efforts. And then the volunteer efforts, we have those big initiatives we talked about. But sometimes there are other projects throughout the year that we need help with. And if people want to put themselves kind of as on-call volunteers for maybe a simple repair project, or even something like clearing someone's basement out, that type of thing, we can help with those things too. And a lot of times it's for people that are handicapped, don't have the physical capabilities to do that on their own. We give them a hand and we give them a fresh start.
Absolutely. Well, Jason Hafeman, I want to thank you so much for the information today, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Jason Hafeman is the Outreach Manager for Project Home on South Stoughton Road. You can find out more at projecthomewi.org. We'll be right back with more Talk of the Town. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. My next guests are from the Spirit Lake Review literary magazine from UW-Baraboo, and I'm joined by John Markstad, Kody Corliss, and Lindsey Wade. Welcome to the program, guys.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. So, John, I want to start with you. Tell us a little bit about what is Spirit Lake Review?
It's a literary magazine that's published once a year by a student class at UW-Baraboo. The students, with help from our instructor, Kelly Dwyer, puts together a literary magazine of poetry, short stories, artwork, photography, and the students themselves are the ones that edit and publish the magazine.
Very good. And you guys are doing a fundraiser, as I understand, right now. Kody, can you tell us a little bit about that fundraiser and what you're raising money for?
Yeah, we wanted to be the first class in the first edition of Spirit Lake Review to, instead of having an 8.5 and 11 black and white stapled binding magazine, we wanted to be able to do perfect book binding and a color magazine. So we're actually just raising money for printing costs. And it's entertainment. We're having a lip sync competition. We have Tom Farley is coming up from Madison to perform. Should be a good time.
Yeah, lots of good stuff going on. Very cool. And Lindsey, I'm just curious, who is eligible to submit works, pieces of writing or whatever for Spirit Lake Review?
Anybody in the area can submit their work, students as well as community members or alumni as well.
Okay, so quite a few people, and it doesn't, we talked a little bit before the program, you said about a 75-mile radius outside of Baraboo.
About that,
although you're not going to measure.
No, we will not measure.
Good. Okay, so John, I'm just wondering, this fundraising event that you're having, how are you going to involve both the college and the community on this? What are your plans for that?
We've been putting up flyers around town and on the internet, inviting people to join us, to donate money and vote on some of the entertainment acts, the lip sync, to get involved, to submit their own work, whether it's literary or art, and to support us in the publication of our magazine.
Very cool. And Kody, who all is? Can you talk to us a little bit about who's going to be involved in putting this event on?
Yeah. So the Spirit Lake Review class is kind of working really hard to get this organized. It's April 1st. And so we have live music happening, and actually two of the class members, Derek Ramnarath and Jacob McCluskey, are going to be playing. And so we have a lot of good people going into this.
Very cool, very cool. Now, I'm curious, is there like a website that they can go to find that people can go to if they want to find out more information about Spirit Lake Review? Do you guys have a website? Can you tell us what the website is, Lindsey?
Yep, we do have a Facebook page for Spirit Lake Review, as well as if you go onto the UW-Baraboo Sauk County website, we have a Spirit blog, which kind of keeps you clued in on what's going on in the class and where we're at with the publication.
Okay. And if I were to go on Google and type in Spirit Lake Review UW-Baraboo, that should pop up.
It'll pull up the Facebook page and the UW-Baraboo website.
Awesome. Now, I'm just curious, Lindsey, can you talk to us a little bit about the class, the actual class, because I heard Kody mention a class, that Spirit Lake Review class. Can you tell us a little bit about who's involved in this class? And I'm also curious, how long has Spirit Lake Review been in publication?
Spirit Lake Review actually started as a club back in 2004, and it was just Kelly Dwyer, who is still the instructor as of now, and another advisor. And they just started out as a few people with an idea, and now they have it as a 3-credit course, and it's called Lip Mag. And it's this year we have actually 20 students, which is the biggest that we've had so far. And this is my second year doing it. It's such a great experience, something great to put on your resume and get credit for, and it's something that you can have tangible to look back on.
And are you both enrolled in the class then?
Yep, all three of us are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
we have everyone from youth options, which are high schoolers, up to continuing education students like John.
Awesome. And is it one of those classes that you can take multiple times and get
Yep,
Awesome.
this is my second time.
There you go. There you go. Double dipping.
Yeah,
Gotta
I
do
love
that.
it. It's just so much fun.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, John, Kody, and Lindsey, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for the information. It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
That's all the time we have for Talk of the Town. We'll see you next time. Hi, welcome to Talk of the Town, and my first guest is Dr. David Nelson from Eye Contact here in Madison. Dr. Nelson, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me.
And as I understand that you're going to be talking about the second annual Dry Eye Awareness Workshop. Can you tell us a little bit about the Dry Eye Awareness Workshop and what it is?
Well, that's correct. We have a day where we try and let everybody know about dry eye and what the problems are. We have a very quick 10-second test that people can sign up for, and we can tell them whether they have dry eye.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit about what is dry eye really, and how common is it?
Well, actually, dry eye is very common. 40% are predicted to have dry eye in the population. And it's a very important part of the visual system. Actually, the tear film is one of the most important parts of seeing clearly. And when it gets disrupted, what happens is people have stingy, burny, watery eyes, and it's a real problem for the patient.
So if my eyes are watering a lot, it could actually be because I have dry eye.
That's very correct, actually, yes. So if you have watery, stingy, burny eyes, it's actually sometimes the symptoms of dry eyes.
Yeah. I'm just curious, do you find that there's more cases of dry eye during the spring when there's all the flowers are in bloom and people are experiencing allergies and so forth?
Well, the tear film is a very complex subject in science, and actually there are inflammatory responses like allergies that are part of dry eye problems as well.
Yeah. Why is this a problem? Why if somebody has watery eyes, why is that how problematic is that really?
Well, when a person has dry eyes and stinging, burning is the result of cornea nerves that are very tingling, because one of the most important parts of the human system is to maintain vision. And the dome of the cornea, or the cornea, which is the dome of the eye, is that protective surface that needs to be intact so that the eye is clear and sees properly. And when it has a problem, it senses and sends things to the tear film to fight what it thinks is an infection to keep that surface clear.
And do we know what the causes of dry eye are? I mean, do we know what causes people to have that itchy, burny, stingy, watery sensation?
As time goes on, it turns out that the tears become more viscous, and they also have more salt in them. And that is a problem for the cells of the epithelium, which is kind of like the skin that covers the eye. If you think about some sort of like a rug burn or scraping one of the skin on your hand, it's a little bit like that with the eye. And then every time salt gets into that, it hurts and it stings and it burns, and then it causes that watery eye.
Sure. And when you say as time goes on, you're talking about as people age and get older.
As people age and get older, sometimes things creep in and it becomes more problematic. As well, contact lens wearers sometimes suffer from dry eyes just because of that plastic piece of material that sits on the eye.
Sure. Tell us a little bit about this testing procedure that you mentioned towards the beginning of our segment today, how you test for dry eye.
Well, it's a new instrument that measures the tear osmolarity of the eye, and it can tell us within 10 seconds whether or not a person has dry eyes. And it's painless. It's something that we just touch the surface of the tears. It takes a microliter sample of that sample and then tells us whether or not it has too much viscosity or salt.
And tell us, what does that osmolarity mean again? What does that word mean?
It's a viscous tear film that is containing more salt.
Sure.
And that salt is harmful to the cells of the epithelium, and actually that's what stings and burns.
Okay, gotcha. And what are your procedures for treating dry eye?
Well, we have a number of things that we can do, including punctal plugs. We have medications and pharmaceutical agents that we can put in eyes. We also use tear substitutes and gels at night. We also have found that you can use triglyceride fatty acids or omega-3s that are pills that people take that are natural anti-inflammatory agents.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm really curious to find out more about this dry eye awareness workshop. what are some of the things, the events that are going to be going on during the time of the workshop? Can you walk us through the day a little bit?
Well, what we're going to do is have a discussion about dry eyes every half hour.
Okay.
And we'll have about a 10-minute discussion about dry eyes. And then what we'll have people do is sign up for this tear osmolarity test. And it only takes, like I said, about 10 seconds. And then what we'll do is we'll take those people and tell them whether or not they have dry eyes. And then what we can do is schedule an examination and go further if the patient decides they'd like to do something further about their dry eyes.
And how does somebody sign up for the dry eye awareness workshop?
Well, by calling our office at 608-833-4242 and signing up for the dry eye awareness workshop.
Awesome. 608-833-4242 is the number?
That's correct.
Awesome. Well, Dr. David Nelson, I want to thank you so much for the information today. I feel like I need to go and get checked for it now. It's like one of those things, the power of suggestion. I kind of feel like my eyes are starting to burn a little bit.
Well, these bright lights in this studio actually would cause that too.
That's true. 2 hours of doing this a day, I suppose. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Nice talking with
All
you.
right.
Don't go away. There's more Talk of the Town coming up right after this. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm now joined by some very special guests. We have Kyle, Daniel, and Kody joining us today. Welcome to the program, guys.
Thank you.
And they're going to be talking about mini cup racing at its finest. And you're going to be surprised to find out that it's not Dad who's racing here, but it is these two young people that we have with us. So I'm going to start with you, Kyle. You ready?
Yeah.
You happy to be here today, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. How did you get started racing?
My uncle Derek, then my dad.
So your uncle started, and then your dad kind of followed, and he kind of got you into it.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. And Kody, what is your favorite thing about racing?
Working on the cars.
So you actually get to work on the cars a little bit and drive them. Wow. Tell me, somebody tell me how fast do these cars go? They can't go that fast, right?
65, 20, to 100. 200.
65 to 120? Holy cow. And have you guys gone that fast yet?
Not yet.
No.
What's the fastest you guys have gone?
About 30.
That's not bad. That could keep up with traffic in a busy street. So, I mean, this is pretty cool that you guys get a chance to do this. Have you had a race yet? Have you guys actually been in a race?
No. No.
No. And do you have a race coming up?
Yes. Yep.
When is your first race coming
May
up?
2nd.
May 2nd.
May 2nd. And where is it?
Rockford Speedway.
Rockford Speedway.
Rockford Speedway. So on May 2nd, do we need to buy tickets to come down to see
Nope,
you?
you just gotta pay.
Just walk in at the gate.
Just walk in, and if you've got, you don't have to buy tickets ahead of time. You can just pay and walk
Yep.
in. Awesome, awesome. I'm just curious, Dad, if you can tell me. I call you Dad. Hope that's okay.
That's fine.
Can you tell me who is eligible to race these vehicles?
8 years old and up, they
Really?
can get in the cars, especially on the Wednesday night programs at Rockford is for the youngsters. And then Saturday night programs for 10 years old and up. They only let 10 years old and up on Saturdays, but on Wednesdays it's 8 and up.
Sure.
So.
And when you say and up, you mean any age? It
Any
can
age.
be 65,
Yep.
70 years
I
old?
think there is a 65-year-old guy actually that races one.
Wow.
So it's
Wow.
one guy I know, he's been doing it 15 years and he loves it. So
Awesome. Awesome. That's very cool. So now, how can people find out about more about getting started if they wanted to get started with this?
you can search the internet. Mike
Hole
or
in Motorsports.
Hole-in-One Motorsports.
Hole-in-One Motorsports. Okay.
American Super Cups on the internet. You can also find them on Facebook, on Twitter, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And a lot of the guys have their own websites. If you go meet them at their cars, they'll hand out pictures,
Sure.
cards with their website on it.
So when you say a lot of the guys, you're talking about the guys who drive.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I want to make sure that our viewers know this. This isn't something that, like if I had a kid who was 8 years old, they couldn't just walk in and say, hey, I want to drive a car today, and then get into the car. They would have to have some training and take some classes and learn some stuff, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Can one of you guys tell me about some of the things you had to do to learn how to drive these cars?
Just we ran four-wheelers and stuff around our yards and stuff, and with Dad racing, they kind of get to ride in the race car sometimes when we do parade laps at the tracks and stuff, and have fan appreciation days and have fans come down, and so.
He bought a race car in, I don't know.
He bought it a while ago.
No, in February there.
Okay, all right. So when you guys are driving the cars, this wasn't, I mean, that's not your first time being in a car. You've been in it as a passenger.
Go-karts, stuff like that,
Sure.
they have driven. I mean, if you got go-kart experience, basically that's what it is. A big go-kart. Basically, it just has independent suspension.
Do you guys get to meet a lot of people during this time, like when you're racing and when you're practicing?
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of different people. Do you have fans? Do you have people coming up and asking for autographs yet?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Not yet. Well, at school they do.
Really?
Their teachers and their students at school, their friends,
Well,
asking them.
After today, you should probably get a lot more after being on TV, huh?
Yep.
So how many, well, I'm going to ask really quickly, can you tell me how many years you guys have been doing this?
This is their first year. But
First year.
Dad's been racing since I was a youngster, so
Sure.
watching my uncle race, so kind of we got into the whole mini cup thing just this year, so.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, Daniel, and Kody, thank you so much for coming on today. It was great having you.
Thank you much.
Don't go away. There's more Talk of the Town coming up right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. My next guest is Penny Johnson from the Baraboo Public Library. Penny, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. And Penny, as I understand it, you're going to be talking about some of the programs and services offered for teens at the library.
Yes.
This might seem a little bit of an odd question, but do teens really go to the library anymore?
Well, for my job security as a teen specialist, I certainly hope so.
Right.
Yes. Actually, a recent national study showed that 25% of public library patrons are between the ages of 12 and 18. So yes, they are coming to the library.
That's a pretty good chunk of the population.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's pretty good. So what types of things are we doing now to attract teens to keep them in the library?
Well, the 21st century library is so much more than a warehouse for books. Libraries are dynamic community centers for all ages. But one of the biggest changes we have seen over the last decade or so is library services for 12 through 18-year-olds. Most libraries have now carved out a space or even dedicated an entire room for teens to have a place of their own. They offer a wide variety of activities, often weekly, and they also offer leadership experiences and opportunities to volunteer and also to gain important skills.
Awesome. And that's such a great change, a refreshing change to have a place of their own in the library. You know, they always have the kids section, the little kids section, but it's nice to have a section that's dedicated for teens because they do have their own identity.
Yes.
I mean, we all know that. So tell us a little bit more about what do they have? What is involved in having a place of their own there at the library?
A teen space at the library is usually an area with comfortable seating, relaxed rules as far as food and drink. It's definitely a place where teens feel comfortable hanging out with their friends. We have free Wi-Fi, of course, and computer use. Usually there are board games or video games or puzzles that the teens can use. And I think an important aspect, too, is that when teens come to the library, they will find a librarian or library specialist who is specifically trained to serve that age group. In other words, an adult who really enjoys the company of teens.
And that's great. It takes a special person, I think, to be able to fill those shoes.
Well, thank you. As a teen specialist, I appreciate that.
There you go. Yeah. So give us a couple of examples of some of the activities that you guys are offering that age group.
Oh, you'll be amazed at the variety and the creativity of activities that libraries have. I'll tell you some of the things that we have done in Baraboo, and I know that teens will find this in their local libraries as well. We have done duct tape crafts. We have tie-dyed our socks. We have done a teen iron chef. We have celebrated Elvis Presley's birthday and William Shakespeare's birthday and William Shatner's birthday. We have anime showings once a week. We do Lego Minecraft. We have done Office Olympics. We have done, you get the idea.
All in the library.
All in the library.
Wow. Wow. And do teens even really know, do they know who Elvis Presley is?
They do now.
There you go. That's your job. Mission accomplished.
Right.
Great. So what kinds of other opportunities are offered for teens at the library nowadays?
I heavily rely on a teen advisory board, and I know other teen librarians do as well. This is an opportunity for teens to learn leadership skills as they advise library staff on what type of activities they would like to see, what type of materials they would like to see on the shelf, what they would like the teen space to look like. So we definitely give teens those opportunities. We also really need teen volunteers, especially during the summer. We use teens to run the summer reading program, to help with the story times, to be reading buddies with younger children. So a lot of opportunities like that.
So keeping the teens involved gives them that sense of community and makes it feel like it's their library.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So you have all these opportunities, multimedia, Wi-Fi and so forth, and these activities. Books are still important, though, right, in the library?
Oh, yes, definitely. In fact, adults are now discovering what teens have known for years, that YA literature is fabulous.
Yeah.
You look at some of the titles that have now been made into movies, of course, Harry Potter and Twilight, Hunger Games, Divergent, The Book Thief, The Fault in Our Stars, If I Stay. These are all familiar titles that the teens love. I know a group of girls who are graduating from high school this year, and their senior trip is going to be to go to the American Library Association conference in San Francisco to meet their favorite authors.
How cool is that?
Yes. Plus, the other great thing is as teens are getting smartphones and tablets, they have discovered the Overdrive program that the library offers, where they can borrow ebooks and audiobooks at the library. So, yes, books are still definitely important.
Absolutely. Well, Penny Johnson from Baraboo Public Library, thank you so much for the information, and thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Don't go away. There's more Talk of the Town coming up right after this. Stay tuned.